I want to jump into the next subject, which is timely and critical, which is the demand for energy from AI systems, and a little bit of a look at US versus China. I think people need to understand we are going to become limited by power in our quest for digital superintelligence. So how are we going to power this revolution? So China is rapidly scaling up on nuclear. It's their equivalent of a Sputnik moment. So China aims to surpass the US by 2030 in nuclear. I mean, the numbers are staggeringly, incredibly, pessimistic here. The US only added 2 reactors this century. I mean, 2 reactors, over the last 25 years, 94 total in the US versus China's 58. China is building a reactor every 52 months. The US licensing alone takes 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. This is the reason I love doing this podcast. And I look forward to this so much because your team will dig up a topic that I really need to study. And then it'll come into the deck and I'll be like, yeah, it's just so fascinating to me to dig in on these things. And it's just so fun to talk about it. A lot of these things like, this are so obvious. And this is America's Achilles heel. Like we cannot act on long-term thinking and long-term investing. Our investment cycle is 3, 4, 5 years at the most. Our election cycle is 8 years, 4 years or 8 years. And we can't think about 10 years in the future. And so it's killing us. It's absolutely killing us. But God, the data in these next couple of slides is mind-blowing. We're going
to talk about nuclear in a future podcast with some of the CEOs in these industries. But, generation 1 nuclear power plants no longer exist. Generation 2 plants are still out there, including what we saw with Fukushima and 3 Mile Island. Those were the dangerous plants. Generation 3 have been the plants that have been really manufactured over the last 30 years. And then generation 4 are the plants that are currently have been designed, are fail safe. It's kind of nuclear plant I'd put in my backyard. But the time frame for these plants, for developing them, is insanely long, right? We're talking like, if you wanted to start today, it would take you 10, 15 years. And that's why 3 Mile Island is being recommissioned, because it's already approved from a government regulatory standpoint. It's crazy.
It is totally crazy.
Salim?
I'm really, really angry about this one. I'm trying to be constructive here, but we know that solar scales. China's going to have more solar.
Well, let's get to that. That's our next topic here. Let's go to the next slide.
Wait, Salim,
Salim, you got muted here.
You muted yourself. I don't know if you muted yourself or we muted you.
I'm just really mad.
That was perfect.
I was going to swear, and I thought I'd better cut off the mic before I swear.
All right, so I'll let you take the lead here. China is winning the race to become a Type 1 civilization. In other words, a civilization that harnesses all the power hitting the Earth and the sun. By 2030, China will have the ability to build an entire U.S. worth of power generation from solar and storage alone every single year. Look at this chart. Salim, talk to us about this.
You go, Dave. Let me just gather.
Well, no, this chart is. I added the gigawatt axis on the left there because who the hell talks about terawatt hours per month? What the hell is that metric? But anyway, gigawatts is a better way to look at it. But this is actually gigawatt actual utilization. They actually created about 700 gigawatts of solar panels last year, 2024. And deployed 250 gigawatts of peak capacity.
I mean,
so on this chart, it shows that
after the hillsides covered with solar. Right? We covered that on a past podcast. It's insane. They're just rolling this out, building capacity and distribution.
Yeah. I mean, just for context, the U.S. total capacity energy production is 1.2 terawatts, so 1,200 gigawatts. And so, peak actual utilization is more like, 3/4 of a terawatt. So you're like, half of what the U.S. creates, they created in solar panels in 2024 alone, just solar panels in 2024.
Yeah. Salim.
All right. Crazy. So they have an advantage because they've got all the rare earths and they can use those for solar panels and build out. They're going to add more solar than the entire U.S. energy output in a little while. So that's going to be crazy. It blows my mind that we are putting restrictions and not extending tax credits for solar and other stuff here in this country. We need to unlock that in the biggest possible way and let private sector go nuts on this and put government subsidies there instead of government subsidies on oil, which is what we do today. It's the stupidest energy policy we could possibly have.
I mean, I'm fine with all energy needs to be, made available, but where do we invest on growth? Solar is available today. The numbers are, can I just share a couple of points here? There's enough energy that hits the earth in 1 hour to provide the global energy needs of the entire year. So 1 year worth of sun hitting the earth provides global needs for the entire year.
All
right. So here are some additional numbers. Global solar capacity reached 1,300 gigawatts by 2024. About 1% of global energy need is being provided by solar. It's estimated that if you cover just 0.1% of the Earth, about 150,000 kilometers, with 20% efficient panels, that would generate 200,000 terawatt hours annually, exceeding current demands. So how big is 150,000 square kilometers? It's about the size of South Dakota. I've never been to South Dakota, but if it were covered by solar panels, it'd be giving us a huge amount of energy. So
yeah, the problem with solar for data centers and AI fundamentally is the good thing about AI is you can move it to the power. You can take the data center. Yeah. That's a huge advantage. The bad thing is you need those chips to be running 24/7. They depreciate really, really quickly. They're very expensive. The chips cost 10 times more than the power. You're not going to let them sit idle if it's raining out. Yeah. So solar has the horrible flaw of being intermittent. And so it's really good if you can store it. But the cost of lithium to store the solar when it's cloudy and raining is about 5 times higher than the cost of the solar panels. So if you want to become the world's first trillionaire, find a way to store huge amounts of energy cheaper.
There is a way, and we're going to be talking to Bill Gross, the CEO of Idealab, right? And he's been using gravitational storage, which is, we'll talk about that, rather than storing into batteries. You use the energy during the day, a portion of energy, to move a large weight vertically, and this has been done with water for ages. But you move a large weight vertically, and then at night the weight gets pulled down by gravity, and in a generator generates electricity. So it's efficient, it's available, and it works.
Can I throw out some thoughts here?
Sure.
So in 2016, we crossed an inflection point where it became cheaper to build a solar power generation facility than fossil fuel. And almost all energy and generation since then has been solar because of that. In 2019, we hit a more important inflection point, which is that it became cheaper to build solar than to build and run solar than it was it became cheaper to build and run a solar facility than just run a fossil fuel facility. So the capex and opex of solar are now cheaper than the opex of fossil fuels. Right? That's huge. A crazy inflection point, meaning we don't ever need to build a fossil fuel thing again. We should just be building solar. The utility storage problem has been solved at scale, as you've said. At large scale, this is very easy. You just pump water up a hill to an artificial lake and use hydro at night on the way down. Right? Yeah. It's a little clunky, but it's very workable until battery technology or energy vault type stuff that Bill Gross is doing comes along. So this is a known problem. We should be going full out for this. I think it was 100 miles by 100 miles would power the whole of the US was Elon's calculation. The one I saw was 2% of the Sahara covered with solar panels gives you enough power to cover the whole world's energy needs. Distribution is a challenge, but just that visual is a really killer visual. Well, it's absurd that we're doing what we're doing.
Here's the chart, Elon, that was posted. Elon's tweet is solar is 100% of energy long term, right? No question, this is what's going to drive humanity forward. And here's a chart that basically reads, it took 8 years for solar to go from 100 terawatt hours to 1,000 terawatt hours, and then just 3 years to go from 1,000 to 2,000 terawatt hours. You can see that super exponential growth curve, exceeding hydro, coal, gas, nuclear, wind. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, I really feel like pumped hydro is very, very efficient, but you need about a lake the size of Loch Ness to move up about 300 meters and come back down to store enough energy to power a huge data center. So that's a lot of water.
Bill Gross has solved that, right? With these gravitational towers, basically you pump huge, multi-ton bags of dirt up into like an elevator shaft into a large building, or up the hillside if you're near a mountain.
Right.
And he's got this working today. He's got huge contracts. We'll be talking to him about that. I think storage can be solved. And I'm hoping, in fact, AI is going to help us with new technology for
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you're a materials scientist or a chemical engineer, I'm pretty sure with AI's help in a couple of years, or maybe even this year, come up with a reversible chemical reaction that's completely self-contained, that stores huge amounts of energy. Use the solar to drive the reaction one way, and then when it's cloudy, run the reaction the opposite direction. Yeah. And if you come up with something that's 10, 20 times more energy dense than a lithium battery, which seems very viable, you're going to be a trillionaire.
Yeah.
So just figure that out. Use AI to help.
We a couple of years ago we tried to design an XPRIZE around this, and the numbers were get off-grid storage 50 times cheaper than it is today, which is very viable.
Here's another tweet from Elon. Solar power in China will exceed all sources of electricity combined in the U.S. in 3 to 4 years. It's a wake-up call. China is going all in on energy production, and it's epic.
I have one more thing to say about this.
Please.
I think this China-US stuff is a little overhyped. I don't think we'll have that much of a.
I think it's a stocking. I think it's a stocking.
But I think it's a great. Yeah, I agree. But it's a great comparator. Yeah. I don't think there's real deep conflict there.
No, there's not. But what it does is it shows the U.S. what is possible.
Yeah, and to Dave's earlier point is this is a structural issue we have in the U.S. where we have 4-year election cycles, and we have no mechanism to look at 20 years and say this is the water, healthcare, energy we need over a 20-year period. We need to.
And running our venture funds, this acutely. But you make an investment, investors want to see liquidity, within 4 or 5 years. They don't want their money to be sitting out there for 10 or 15 years. In China, they know they'll still be in power. They think they'll still be in power 20 years from now. If you look at the date, they said, we need to be the world's biggest manufacturer of solar panels. So it's about 2004 or 10 or somewhere around there. From that date, do you have the factories up and running and you have the production? And then also, when there's a recession, you got to keep cranking. So just keep the engine running because, you got a 20-year view, 30-year view.
Yeah.
We just can't do that structurally in the US. And that's why we get so far behind in nuclear and solar and some of the other long-term trends. And that is our fundamental Achilles heel.